Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be showing you an overview and review of Smartphone Inc. by Arcane Wonders. We purchased this game over a year ago and we just haven't had time to play it. So we did actually play it as a family last night, and it is a really fun game. So that's why we wanted to show you an overview and review of this game, because we really enjoy it and it will definitely make it to our table very often. So basically, it is a huge game. You can see it's a huge board, and it's really nice components because this is just the standard game, but it has, you can see the dual layer board, which is very nice. That it comes with trays for each player. It's just a really fun and
well-developed
game, and it's totally an e-commerce board game. So if you like e-commerce, I always say e-commerce, not e-commerce. It's economic board game. Sorry. My day job, I work in e-commerce, so I always say it. Okay, so it's an economic board game. So just a phenomenal game. We really enjoyed it. I'm so glad we purchased this game. So I'm going to do a quick overview, and then we'll give you more of a in-depth review at the end. So basically, you act as cell phone companies, up-and-coming cell phone companies. You take the corresponding pieces. You have your progress markers, which look like little stair steps in your color. The office markers are kind of like little office buildings, and then your standard cubes, which are your markers that you'll be placing. You pick your company, and you get a corresponding screen. There'll be one phase where you'll use the screen. But you can see I'm Suntech, and I start out in India. So I would start out here, and you get to start out with an office marker on the region for your company. And then your goal is to branch out to more regions, and you have to do them in areas that connect with the region that you already have an office or presence in, I guess I should say. So seems like there's a lot to this game, but honestly, it's very easy, especially if you've played economic board games or games with mechanics where you're doing phases and rounds. And the way they have the board laid out makes it very easy. So here's your rounds. So it's 5 rounds, and here's your 8 phases. So you just move this marker each time you finish a phase, and those phases go quickly. So the round, it says it's a long game, but it felt like it went pretty fast to me. It did take over an hour, but it doesn't feel like that because you're going through each phase and then moving the marker, and then there's just a lot of strategy and thinking to it. So you really don't feel like it's fun. So it doesn't feel like you're playing a long time. So each player starts out with their screen, their company. They get 2 of these pads, which are 2-sided. And I'll explain those a little bit more in a minute. But as you can see, the symbols match the phases. So that gives you kind of a hint that these do have something to do with those phases. You also, the back part of your starting card, which is your improvements tiles, you get that one to start with as well. And then you will be gaining more in the improvements phase. Over here, there's always going to be 5 up to choose from at the beginning of the round. And then as people take them, of course, you don't replace them until the end of the round. But there'll be 5 at the end of the beginning of each round, new ones to choose from. First come, first serve. So, and then, of course, the players get their pieces in their color. So then you're ready to play. You start out with each player. This is the phase you hide. You would hide your pads. And you can cover up from 1 to 4 of these icons. We only covered up 1 because the more you have, the more advantageous it is in the phases. And then, of course, you could choose either side based on what you're wanting to accomplish. So this symbol here is the planning phase, when you're figuring out which one you're going to cover. And again, you can also use your improvement tiles to cover up sales if you would prefer those over what's on your pads. And each player gets one with the little black computer screens or cell phones and the little white cell phones. So each player has one of each of those. So you're going to be deciding that. Then you remove your screen. Everyone gets to see. Then you do the income phase. Everyone starts out at 5. And if you have any of these symbols, your income goes up 1. If you have anything with a minus, they go down 1. And sometimes you'll just break even with your pluses and minuses. There's more you could see on these improvement tiles. So it's...
this is pretty much the market.
Right. The advantage to having this, basically what this represents is how much you're charging for your cell phones. So strategically, in some sense, you'd want to charge more because you get more victory points is your cash in this game. But also, you get to go first if you're the lowest price cell phone. So it's kind of a balance of what you want, because if you're going to choose first, one, you might get to do the technologies before anyone else and get these little cards, which gives you victory points at the end of the game. You'd need 4 in this little section to get that one. So if you're the first to basically research that technology to use in your company, you're going to do better. So there's an advantage to going first. You also get to choose first. It starts in phase 4 when that person gets to go first. So you would get to choose your improvement tiles first. You get to place your things, your tokens first. So there's a lot of advantage to that as well. All along the game, you're going to be, at the end of each round, you're going to be moving on. This is what tracks your victory points. The one with the most victory points wins, like most games. So victory points are your cash. So as you gain cash, the victory points go up. And at the end of the game, some of these tiles and some of the regions you're in, if there's a retailer there, these black bars here are retailers. If you have your office buildings on some of those red blocks at the top of where you're at is how many victory points you get at the end of the game. There was one that was 20 points that Anthony was on. So that basically helped him win the game, because that 20 points is a lot.
I didn't do that. I was like 40,
he won the game
40
by
50
a lot.
points.
So the next phase after the income phase is the production phase. I believe that's what it's called. Let me make sure I'm calling these phases right. I'm horrible at using the correct terminology. Yes, production phase. So if you have that symbol on your pads, it doesn't matter if it has a dollar symbol on it, that's a double, both income and production. For each one of those, you get a cube and you put it in your available section, and you'll use those when later on in the phases. You'd also get one for each one that you have covered up. So in this case, you would get 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't have to be that symbol, each symbol that you have covered up. In this case, you would get 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4 goods produced. There is a technology that allows you here, this one, and those are double-sided, so you can choose which side you want up. But in our game, for each of these symbols on your pad, you actually produce 2 instead of 1. So I think Anthony got that technology. And what you use those for is later on here in the logistics phase, you will be placing, and you can see there's the little logistics symbol there. You will be placing those goods on the buyers in the regions that you have office markers. If you do not have office marker, if you don't have office markers in more than one, you're limited to that one. But I skipped over.
And one thing that's beneficial about that is if, just say, Amanda placed all her cells here, and I'm limited to just this. And so if I didn't have the research, I would just be limited to the 5. But since I was able to obtain the research, I would be able to go further, you remember the sales is determined over there. So I would be able to keep on going. Because if you don't sell, you pretty much lose out on the sell if you're not able to place.
And I did say that wrong. Sorry. The logistics, I'm thinking through a migraine, so please forgive me. The logistics phase, I take that back, is when you place your little stair steps here on these. That's how you're working towards getting your office building on a region. So this one requires 3, that one requires 4. The sell phase is here. I totally botched that up. So in this phase 7, is when you're placing your cubes on the buyers. And like he was saying, if you have a technology, yes, you can sell at your asking price to that buyer, but you do have to have cubes, either yours or someone else's, have to be on these first before you could start selling to the technologies. You have to sell to the ones in red first. So I skipped along a little bit, but it is just an overview. So after the improvements phase, where everyone, if they have that symbol showing on their pad, however many they have, they get that many improvement tiles to use them later, the next round and beyond. Then you have your technology phase, where you get to place, if you have the technology symbol on your pad, for each one of those, you get another one of those little stair steppers. Keep grabbing the wrong one. The little stair steps, and you're placing them in here. And based on if you're trying to get that technology researched first. So in this case, it would cost 4 to get this technology, and you can see it goes down to 3 once someone's claimed that. They would just put that in their tray to tell them that they have that technology, so they know they can sell to that buyer. And at the end of the game, they're going to get 8 victory points. So from now on, it's going to cost 1 less for everyone else to research that technology. And once you've completed it, you just put your little office building there to let everyone know that you were able to sell to that buyer. So then, of course, we go to the logistics. I already explained that. The selling phase, where you're selling to the buyers. And then in the very last phase is called what is it called? The receive victory points phase. So once you get here, then you calculate how many victory points or cash you get for the buyers you sold to. Whatever you are on the money board is the max you can charge. However, whatever's on the red buyers cubes or boxes are the most they will pay. So it doesn't matter what you have over here. If it's more than 3, all you're going to get is 3. If it's more than 5, all you're going to get is 5. However, if it's less than 7, which in most cases it was, they're going to pay what your asking price is. They're not going to pay you the 7. So if you're at 5 or 6, you're going to get 5 or 6, whatever it's at. However, if you sell to a technology buyer, they will pay your asking price. So the highest is 8. If you're asking for 8, you're going to get 8 once you sell to technology. So that's the advantage on top of the victory points to acquiring those technology tiles.
You also get points for dominance.
Right. You also get, if you are sold the most in a region, and even if you're the only one in there, you will get the victory points that's depicted on the furthest right office building that's in that region. So in this case, if you were sold the most, if you had more cubes than someone else down here, you would get an additional 3 victory points. Second place would get the bottom one, which is 2 victory points, whatever it is on that region. They vary by region. And like I said, when you're trying to get in more regions, you have to go by these little bridges and go onto one that's connecting. However, these, like Australia, goes all the way back around the board to US. So some of these over here have a lot of connections. So they're really good if you can get on those. So in a nutshell, that is the phases, and there's 5 rounds of those phases. And you're just it's very strategic, trying to basically dominate in the cell phone industry and get your cell phones out there more than your competition. So it's a very good economic game. So what did you think?
I really enjoyed this game. It flows very smoothly. Although it is over an hour to play, it felt short. And I wish it kind of extended beyond that because there's a lot more things I want to do. The time frame kind of limits what you can do, so you have to pretty much have a strategy on what to do. There's also a lot of replayability because a lot of the stuff is random, and also the market's random. But I really do like the design and illustration of the game. It's simple, but it's big enough that everything's separated, so it's not a sore in your eyes. Also, the components are phenomenal. Nice thick board, dual layer. Really like the pieces, the acrylic. I don't know what type of pieces are, plastic. And then also the little trays that you are able to get. But I think that this is one of my favorite economic games. I would say that this is on par with one of our other favorite economic games, which is Stockpile. This is at that level. I think that if you like one, you're going to pretty much like the other one because it both have that similar feeling and kind of mechanics and the way it pretty much works. So for me, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I think that this is a great game, and there is an expansion for this game that we have yet to get. So I think that might introduce more replayability and more strategic aspects, and that would also elevate my scoring. So for now, it's 9 out of 10. What did you think?
I really, really enjoyed this game. I love economic games, first of all. And point salads, that's my sweet spot of games. I love those two types of games. And if it combines a little of both, even better. But I just really enjoyed this game. I was really excited once I saw what it was. I really didn't, Anthony had purchased this game, so I didn't really know
a year and a half ago
what it was about or anything. And we were just looking for a game to play that we hadn't played. Just have fun and play a game. Maybe one we'd bought, and we have a ton still with the cellophane on them that we purchased that we haven't played.
Yeah, we have hundreds of games that we bought. Like we actually bought, not sent to
over
us
the years.
that we yet to play.
So because we don't have time because of this channel, which I'm not whining or complaining because we get to play a ton of great games, but it's one of those things that we just had to squeeze in to play. So I'm very glad that we chose this one because it was a nice little surprise for me. And it's just, I was shocked. I asked him, is this a Kickstarter version? Because I was really impressed that it includes trays for the players. And there's quite a few players who can play this, and then up to 6 people or something.
4 or 6. Not sure.
But it has, and it's just, the box is just very well laid out when you store the components. It's just very well thought out game.
I think it's 5 because it has 5 slots.
Oh, okay. And it's just whoever, they did a great job in developing this game and putting a lot of thought into it. And it's just, like he said, it flows really smoothly and it does go quickly. You don't feel like you're playing over an hour on this game. I was actually a little bummed, and we were really tired because it. Oh,
this is one of those that she made us play. Start at, what was it, 11:30? I was pretty much to the point where my brain cell was at 0, and I still won. I don't know how. Because at that point, I was falling asleep.
Yeah, and well, we played with Quentin too because it's a weekend, so there's really no. I mean, he does have a bedtime, but it's late on the weekends. But so we did start this game kind of late. Well, it took us a long time just to figure out what game to play.
Oh yeah, we played several games before this.
So it took us a while to even decide on a game. That took a while, and so once we started playing, it was pretty late. But I'm just very happy that he did find this game for us because it is a great game. I would give this a 9, easily a 9. It's almost a 10 for me, but it's a toss-up, probably like 9.5. And I am excited to see what the expansion adds to it. I would definitely check out the expansion if you like this game, I would check them both out because we're going to be looking at the expansion
Oh,
to
yeah.
see if it's something we want to add to our collection. Hopefully, we'll get to play it before a year and a half. So we will put the description or the link in the description if you want to check this game out for yourself. I'm sure you bought it off Amazon probably.
Probably.
But if not, there's several
Or
board game stores.
Nerds.
Yeah, we do get from Game Nerds.
Portlandia.
Yeah, those are our favorites that we always peruse and are pre-ordering and buying games from quite a bit. So we will put one of those links in the description wherever you can find it. Hopefully this video helped you to decide whether this is a game you'd want to add to your collection. I can't say enough good things about it. And again, we bought this game, so there is no reason for us to... I mean, we're honest on all of our reviews, but there's no reason for us to not be honest, because it wasn't sent to us. So hopefully you will check out this game. It's a great game. And thank you for watching. Please give this video a like. Feel free to leave a comment. If you're not already, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.